Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Iqmal bin Hakim, and today I would like to talking about my part, which from presentation question that I've been choosing for subject psychology of work behavior. I've been choosing question number 1 and 9. So yeah, let's get jumped in. First question: how might company recruiting be responsible for creating a job description among new employee? Okay, my response was, firstly, job description refer to unhappy or negative feeling about the work environment. Now, there exists many factors which may result in job description, and some of them are poor working condition of a work level, low level of pay, no scope promotion of career investment, of lack of recognition. But what is the most worst are the consequences of the job description, which affect both our employee and organization. It may result in loss of motivation, lack of interest, frustration, poor productivity, and even high turnover rates. Next, how company recruiting be responsible for creating job justification or resolving their problem, especially among new employees. And here's the few things that as a manager should do when confronted with difficult employee, which keep them from getting sucked into an endless vortex on effectiveness and frustration. First point was listen to them. Often when employee is difficult, we stop paying attention to actually what's going on. We're irritated it seems hopeless, and we already decide what we think about the employee. So we just turn our attention to our other things out of a combination of avoidance, of self-protection. Besides, the best recruiter get a very attentive when someone not doing well. They know their best shot at improving in the situation lies in having a declared possible understanding position, including knowing the tough employee point of views. The second point is work through the company processes. Good recruiting hold up hope for improvement until the point when they actually decide to let the person go and they make sure they will dot all the that will allow them 5% income to that. If you're at this point in your effort to address the situation, you have to be having a very clear conversation with HR so that you know what you're doing, exactly what you need to do, and clear the path to determination if that turns out necessary. The third one was manage your self-talk, which throughout this process, make sure your self-talk neither helpful positive nor unhelpful negative, which thinking to yourself disguised in idiot will never change. Isn't useful or not thinking. Everything will be turned out is great. There's no problem. Good manager take a fair and witness stance. Make sure that they'll say to themselves about the situation as accurate possible. For example, his behavior is creating a real problem for them. I'm doing what I can to support him to change. If he does, great. And if he doesn't, I'll do what I've said I'll do. The fourth point was be courageous. Fighting someone is the hardest thing a manager has to do. It is get to the point, do it right. Don't make excuse, don't put it off, and don't make someone else do it. The best manager do the tough things impossible, and if things turns around, be courageous enough to accept that. Sometimes being proved wrong when we think someone not survivable is almost hard as being proved right. I'll move to the next question, was number 9. In what do leaders hike in consideration dimension behave differently from leaders hike in intending structure dimension? My point was, consideration behavior and hidden structure behavior are both ways working towards a goal. However, consideration behavior focus on people while intending structure behavior focus on tasks in hand. As part of consideration behavior, the leader manager show the genius care and concern for the people working under them. It is leader and concern for the people working under them. It is a leadership style that fosters genuine friendship, trust, and harmony between members of the team. It involves a team leader treating every member of his team as equal, as having an open door policy in which everybody knows the management can be approached at any time. Initiating structure, on the other hand, focus on how leader define roles of his team. It involves making work schedule, ensuring to rule and regulation, and making sure that the high standard of the maintenance. Although leader following consideration behavior will often become more of friends than a boss to the people working under them. A leader should be following initiating structure will be far less personal and far more authoritarian. So far, that's all from my part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Syahida binti Muhammad Kazaman. My metric number is UDB 190308. So today I'm going to present my part, which is what is the form of discrimination other than racial prejudice that was still in the workplace. Then, how can we reduce the issue? Based on my opinion, discrimination in the workplace is a certain prejudice that was occurred to an employee that was treated unfavorably because of her gender, sexuality, race, religion, pregnancy, maternity, and disabled, and many more. For example, prejudice and discrimination based on race is called racism. Oftentimes, gender prejudice or discrimination is referred to as a sexism. You treated someone differently because of they possesses different characteristics of other members of staff. You could be acting unlawfully. Discrimination was divided into two categories. Number 1, indirect discrimination. Number 2, direct discrimination. Direct discrimination occurs when you treated someone less favorably than other employees. For example, when you are paying someone less than other employees for no good reason. You select particular workers for redundancy based on a protected characteristic. You don't make reasonable adjustment for disabled workers, and many more. Indirect discrimination occurs when certain rules and regulations put certain staff members at a disadvantage. For example, if you insist all workers should work Sunday, this could be seen as discriminating against Christians who consider it a day of worship. There are many types of discrimination other than racial prejudice, which is age, pregnancy and maternity, disability, sexual orientation, gender reassignment, sex, religion or belief, marriage and partnership, and many more. There are many ways to reduce discrimination in the workplace. The first step is recruitment. Avoiding discrimination starts before you even employ someone. Make sure your adverb doesn't discriminate by using particular term. For example, office girl could imply only women should apply. Only use other terms like highly experienced when there are an actual job requirement, or you could be discriminating against someone who hasn't had the chance to gain any experience yet. You also need to ensure all candidates are treated equally. Ask them the same set of questions and avoid questions which fall under the protective characteristic. Second way to reduce discrimination in the workplace is policy. Create an equal opportunity policy. This could lay out the protected characteristic, direct and indirect discrimination, and what behavior that is and isn't acceptable at work. It will form the foundation of safe and respectful workplace for your employee and can significantly reduce the risk of inadvertently discriminating against staff by helping staff to understand their rights and responsibilities. By having such a policy in place, you are already showing them that you are a caring employee who believes in equal opportunity and will make sure they are all treated fairly. The third way to reduce discrimination is education. Educate your worker about discrimination and let them know what your policy. Include details in their contract of employment or employee handbook if you have one. Discrimination training can also form part of your onboarding process so employees are aware right from the start of do's and don'ts. Fourth way is respect. As part of the company culture, you should encourage your staff to respect each other's differences. The fifth way to reduce discrimination in the workplace is deal with complaints fast. If someone does complain of discrimination, you should deal with it quickly and confidently. Make sure you have robust complaint procedures in place so staff feel they are listened to and that differences are respected in their workplace. The sixth way is training. As well as having general discrimination training as part of the onboarding process for new employees, train your manager and supervisors to spot cases of discrimination and how to respond to them. The seventh way is enforcement. It is great having a workplace policy on discrimination, but not if you only pay lip service to it. You have to make sure it is properly enforced and your staff feel confident in its validity. The last way is review. Regularly review your policy to make sure it is working effectively and make changes where necessary.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Arina Binti Shamadin. I am from UDB 19. My matric numbers is UDB 190316. Today, I want to present about presentation question. Number first is question 3. What factor can influence an interview's judgment about a job? Applicate. Difference that context effect be define the halo effect. Okay. Number 1 is make sure that different people handle different stage to the selection process. With one's resume screening that team and the another teams doing the interview. Number 2, have at least 3 people on the recruitment panels. Consult a personal judgment from the other and avoid discussion. Number 3, do some interview. First, a full panel interview and a short jobs interview and trial in which the person is paid to work with the team for several days. Number 4, ask for an interview outside the team or independents who have no reason to block the candidate because they cannot work with them. Number 5, make sure screening and testing process more rigorous, especially with respects to key performance indicator. Number 7. The halo effect means making the wrong choice and losing the best candidate, or even facing a real problem. Your best defense is awareness for your unconscious tenders. Number 2 is question 10. Identify at least 6 obstacles to the advancement of women as manager. Number 1 is organization support. It is a changing for organization to develop, maintain and promote talented women. We believe that the combination for individual development strategies and systematic changes in mindset is a solution, as well as a review and in some case an organization culture audit. Number 2, individual development. Just and how individuals take on leadership roles and uncertainly a question of identify. When a woman leader internalize leadership identify, she tends to show behavior that's emphasize leadership. An example is his willingness to do challenging tasks, find grow opportunity, and takes risks. Such behavior is turn will be emphasized by those around him who consider him a leader and struggling his leadership identify. Number 3 is develop women leaders in the atmosphere of all women. With the goals to developing individual, the women specific leadership program provide participant with a difference how context with a more familiar and male combined work environment. Number 4 is systematic transaction and in-depth understanding for the subconscious bias that affects women in organizations as essential to promoting more women leaders. With the support of a senior leader (HR), leaders can find best way in the organization to influence opportunities and motivator for women, track the talent management process and identify areas for potential improvement. Number 5 is becoming a member of the C-suite. Women everywhere are making outrageous move in the workplace. They are taking more risk and preparing himself to take on more challenging roles. That said, one of the greatest obstacles they face to making their way to the C-suite. Maybe my advice is that they take the bull by storm. Know what you want to be utilized in your appreciations. Equivocation will always be your most energy. Number 6, re-entering the paid workforce. Resulting a career after the long hiatus is a full-time caregiver for children or against parents too challenging. It requires combating engage, rebuilding confidence, reconstructing a work during off-hour skill or development new ones, can catching up the technology. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nur Arisa Natasha binti Muhammad Razali. I'm from UDB 190306. I would like to describe how assessment center are used as a selection technique. So the assessment center method is often used in selection procedure to test the suitability of the candidates, and assessment consists of several tests and practical simulations. They are intended to show whether a person is the right fit for a particular position or still perform optimally, which is assessment technique using the assessment method, the assessment center method. So candidates are test for the qualities required for a certain position. If it's an executive function, candidates will have to show their leadership qualities, or if an organizational function, the assessment will focus more on organizational qualities.
Question 5. List the big 5 personality factors and identify 2 effective in predicting job performance and 2 that was important in teamwork. Today, there are many researchers believe that there are 5 core personality traits. Evidence of this theory has been growing for many years, beginning with the research of D.W. Fiske in 1949 and later expanded upon by other researchers including Norman 1967, Smith 1967, Goldberg 1981, and McCrae and Costa 1981. The Big Five personality theory gives a simple blueprint to understand others, building relationship by knowing why people tend to behave that way. You can also use the theory to understand yourself and how to get along with other people. There are 5 factors in Big Five personality traits. Number 1, extroversion. This type of person likes to be sociable and assertive. Number 2, agreeableness. This type of person likes to be cooperative and trusting. Number 3, conscientiousness. This type of person likes to be responsible, depending, and achievement oriented. Number 4, emotionally stability. This type of person likes to be secure and a positive person. Number 5, openness to experience. This type of person likes to be originality and enthusiasm to learn and explore. There are 2 types of personality that was effective in predicting job performance. Number 1, openness to experience. This signifies seeking unique or challenging experience, anything that is different to the daily monitoring. For example, living abroad, traveling, or take up challenging tasks at work. Basically, anything which has the potential to offer a next experience. The second personality that was effective in predicting job performance is Conscientiousness. This type of personality highlights qualities of being organized, dependable, self-disciplined, responsible, and perseverance to aim for achievement. People with high and low conscientiousness can categorize as an efficient and easygoing respectively. 5 personality factors are qualified that makes for effective teamwork. These qualifiers ensure effective interaction, collaboration work, accountability, positive thinking, and the capability to harness learning towards breakthrough is new, approachable, and ideas. There are 2 types of personality that was important for teamwork. Number 1, agreeableness. Agreeableness is a type of personality that defines plus for teamwork. Cooperative individuals are deal in group situations since they are capable to work collaborative work, where all the team members have to get along, have amicable meetings, interact, share information, be helpful and supportive, and jointly arrive at the decision. The second personality that was important for teamwork is conscientiousness. Conscientiousness is a type that was highly desirable quality in a team member since it implies responsible behavior, reliability in handling one's work within the team, the ability to be accountable, or being dedicated and committed to the proper accomplishment of the task. The third personality that was important for teamwork is openness to experience. Openness to experience is a highly appreciated quality in teams because the team members are expected to think out of the box and have a keen interest in the world around them.
My name is Nura Nabia binti Muhammad and I am from UDB 190320. The question is, in evaluating performance on production job, what factor other than worker output should be considered and why? Performance evaluation means many things to many people. It is measurement process and it is an exercise in observation and judgment, and it is a feedback process. Performance evaluation is the process by which manager or consultant examines and evaluates an employer work behavior by comparing it with present standard, document the result of the comparison, and use the result to provide feedback to the employees to show where improvements are needed and why. In evaluating performance, it is important because we want to see the employee behavior or performance and to make the career decision for HR. Performance evaluation is a systematic process of evaluating how well employees are performing their job. The appraisal is based on results obtained by the employee job, not on the employee personality and characteristics. Why it is necessary to use evaluating performance? It is to avoid buyer and radical buyer issues, and is to ensure that the criteria are set by the HR and present in the person. The performance is measured against such factors as job knowledge, quality and quantity of output, initiative, leadership abilities, supervision, dependability, operation, judgment, variety, and health. Assessment should be confined to the past as well as potential performance too. Performance evaluation are one of the important communication tools to an organization. Can need to be complicated and need to be done. Performance evaluation benefit both employee and the highest worker. You just need to provide feedback, recognize quality performance, and set expectation for future job performance. It is also a time to have candid conversation about performance that is lacking and how performance so it can be improved by the training. More than that, to compare job, evaluate roles, there is a few things based on factors such as mental effort, physical effort, and working conditions. Most point system used in job evaluation system evaluate the skill, accountability, and effort required to perform each job. Associated with the skills include the education required as well as the communication skill and experience need to complete the task effectively. Accountability factors indicate the scope of responsibility, job complexity, and amount of budget allocated. An effort factor describes the physical, emotional, and mental demand of the job task. The organization using those factors is to measure the outcome of performance that interact between the person, performance, evaluate, providing a stepstone for the employee and supervisor to identify and discuss areas where performance can be improved. It can also be important opportunity for employee manager expectation to be reinforced or clarified. More than that, it also can help ensure employees are recognized for their work and are being provided the right training opportunities to acquire future skills, which can be beneficial for both the employee and the business.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Nik Nasha Amira binti Nik Muhammad Shukri. I am from UDB 19. My matrix number is UDB 190303. So, my question is, in your opinion, what changes to the performance appraisal process might make the employees and managers more receptive to the idea of performance evaluation? So here is my answer. In my opinion, there are a few changes that might make the employees to accept the idea of performance evaluation. The effects of performance appraisal on employee are more than debatable. For a long time, the overall consensus, at least among scholars, was that performance appraisal generally have a positive effect on employee performance. There are three main theories that the effects of performance appraisals on employees are hinged upon. Firstly, is the social comparison theory. Social comparison theory suggests that when the individuals judge their own performance, they tend to compare themselves or their work to those around them, suggesting that people are not so much concerned about their performance in an absolute sense, but how it measures up in relation to the relevant peers. Hence, performance appraisals are founded on the belief that employees will improve their performance when faced with unfavorable comparative information. Next is feedback intervention theory. Feedback intervention theory suggests that when confronted with a discrepancy between what they wish to achieve and then the feedback that they receive, individuals are strongly motivated to attain a higher level of performance. At least, that's the part that advocates what performance appraisal will tell you. Feedback intervention theory is a hybrid theory drawing from a number of other behavioral theories. These types of feedback can come positively or negatively, and both of them can affect performance in a conflicting ways. Lastly is the goal orientations. Goal orientations is that there are three types of people in the workplace and likely in the world. The former are learning goal-oriented, view ability as malleable and desire to develop the skill by acquiring new skills. Those with performance-proof goal orientation, we call it as PPGO, are more concerned with demonstrating their competence, seek and only work to be positively evaluated, and thus avoid tasks that pose a risk of error. Despite being the only ones with a legitimate name, the pagos of society strive only to avoid negative judgment from others. While these theories can be used to promote the effects of performance appraisal on employees, there is plenty of research seeking to explain why is the circumstance in which they can have adverse effects on employees. So, in conclusion, a good performance appraisal can lead to a perfect and good performance evaluation. When the company has a better performance appraisal, the employee will likely to accept the idea of the performance evaluation that will be done every month or weekly or yearly. It is a good idea to make changes to the performance appraisal.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera. My name is Nurul Bashira binti Umar Rashid. My metric number is UDB 190309. I will present the question 8. The question is, discuss the influence on training of employees, pre-training expectation and motivation. In what ways can a company increase training motivation? The answer is, in order for the trainee to fully decide whether he or she can really apply the new knowledge or skills at the job, they need to be informed before the trainee about all the aspects of training including objective. Trainees and managers should communicate prior to training to establish a common goal of trainings. Manager must grasp differences in need of trainees and fully comprehend the contents of training. The communication with trainees should follow a certain procedure and paradigm and must be carried out in pre-training stage. Such a communication is called the communication mechanism for pre-training consists. Training practitioners should serve as consultants to help trainees to be better prepared for training. Once the trainees are aware and comprehend the aim and objective on the training program, and most importantly when they have participated in framing this objective, they come to the training ready to learn, and since the objective of the training correspond to their current challenges, they will be motivated to transfer the skills acquired in training. Suggesting that majority of training are done without need assessment, thus explaining the lack in motivation to transfer. New technologies such as cloud computing requires prerequisite knowledge, skills, attitudes, and a level of preparedness, here referred as learning readiness. When teachers understand the role, importance, and expectation of integrating such an innovation, they will be actively motivated to transfer the skills and knowledge into the job. The perception of the organization openness to change by the trainee is built up from previous training experience. Trainees who have experience successfully implement of skills or knowledge acquired from training before have a positive view of organization openness to change. They are therefore more motivated to try new skills learned in training. Motivation to transfer is essential for the transfer of training from the workshop to the workplace. Without motivation, newly acquired knowledge and skills will be not applied to work. In organizational context, where positive transfer of training is generally regarded as the paramount concern of training effort, new perspectives have emerged, focusing on the pre-training factor as they influence post-training outcomes. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Hamiza binti Abdul Samah from UDB 19. My matrix number is UDB 190311. So today I will be presenting my part about question number 11. Okay, my answer is, before our era till this day, we knew that women are most likely to stay at home while the husband who are going to work and give income to their family. But nowadays, both of them are more alike. Woman will spend more time to complete her daily tasks at work department and also at her own house. So it will be a burden and challenges for women. In addition, gender differences could also be the reason. Traditionally, we knew women supposed to stay at home and do household chores. Unfortunately, nowadays, there are more to paid work. Therefore, if she can't commit her responsibilities at home, this will cause to higher work-family conflicts. Next, work demands. In modern days, they are no longer stay at home. Some of them even have higher position than men. Female situation is more complicated. Although it has become accepted for women to work, they still need to focus on their family because it is their responsibilities. The conclusion is, whether they became a work or housewife, they still need to take care of their responsibilities. Therefore, their cultural beliefs will met. That's all from me. Thank you.